Hi everyone! In today's video, we're going to cook a delicious chicken broth, and you'll also learn how to make sure the broth stays beautifully clear and transparent. For lunch today, I made roasted chicken, and this is what I have left over. Some nice scraps. Well, scraps might not look like much, but they make a great broth. First, put the meat into the pot and pour in hot water. About a quart of water should be enough. Then, add the black pepper. I use about 10 peppercorns per quart of water. Next, add the salt. Half a teaspoon will do. Cover it with a lid. I love using a pressure cooker for cooking because everything is done 3 times faster, which saves me a lot of time. In a pressure cooker, you should cook it for at least an hour. Of course, it doesn't matter if you cook it longer. The cartilage and fatty meat will break down better, releasing more flavor and fat. In a regular pot, it takes 3 times as long, at least 3 hours. While the broth is cooking, we'll prepare the soup garnish. I make my garnish from cream of wheat and an egg. Of course, if you don't have cream of wheat, you can use flour. Coarse flour works best. Mix the egg with the cream of wheat, first with a spoon, and then, once it stops sticking, knead it by hand. I love homemade garnish because, unlike store-bought noodles, it doesn't get mushy. You can put it in the soup today, and tomorrow or the day after when you reheat it, the garnish will still be firm. Place the prepared dough on a plate and let it rest. Now it's time for the vegetables. I love vegetables in my soup, so I definitely don't hold back. First, peel the onion and then the celery, carrots, and parsnips. Then grate the vegetables on a coarse grater, except for the onion. I grate the vegetables for a few reasons. First, grating is faster than chopping, but more importantly, it creates smaller pieces so the vegetables cook faster and release their flavor into the broth more quickly. While we were preparing the garnish and vegetables, the meat finished cooking. Take the meat out of the broth and separate the lean meat from the rest, meaning the bones and the fat. Put the whole onion into the broth and add the grated vegetables. I see that a lot of water evaporated while the meat was cooking, so we'll add some more water and stir. It's finally starting to look good. I use 2 forks to shred the lean meat off the bones. It works quite well. Add the shredded lean meat back into the broth and let it simmer so the vegetable flavors release. After about 10 minutes of cooking, the soup is almost done. Now for the finale, the grated noodles. If you like smaller pieces, grate the dough on a grater. If you prefer larger pieces in your soup, just tear the dough by hand. Give it one more stir and let it simmer one last time for about 5 minutes. Let's taste the soup. It needs a little more salt. So, let's add some salt, stir it, and it's done. Notice how beautiful the soup looks. The broth is perfectly clear, and the vegetables have a bright, vibrant color. For a sharper flavor, you can add some grated nutmeg, but I don't recommend it for children. Only at the very end do we add the fresh parsley. The parsley really freshens up the taste of the soup. Just a reminder, fresh herbs like this should always be added at the very end and shouldn't be boiled. Well, that's about all for today. Enjoy your meal, and be sure to check out my other cooking videos.